Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome back. It is episode number 11 of the Newcastle United career mode, coming into today's episode on the back of our big 4-0 win away in West London. What a start to the season for the Magpies. 7 wins in 8 and just a 1 draw, with that being the season opener at home to Manchester City. So 7 wins in a row in the Premier League. We're absolutely flying right now. And we've also won our first 2 games in the Champions League as well. So yeah, for the following game of today's episode, the first one of today's episode I should say here, PSV away from home. During the last episode I was talking about my favourite stadiums very briefly. I talked about the La Bombonera, Boca Juniors Stadium that I was lucky enough to go to earlier this year. I didn't really get the chance to talk about too many of the favourite stadiums I've been to, but you know, I have to say for FIFA and for EA, I'm always excited to see. I don't know if you guys are the same as me, but like when the new FIFA gets teased, you know, we just seen the first 2 trailers of EAS FC 24. A little bit excited for it, quite optimistic and hopeful for the best, let's just say that. But one of the things that I'm also really excited about when the new FIFA gets teased and the new info starts getting released for the new game, obviously changes to the main game mode of play, which is CM, but also what new stadiums are getting added into the game for the new year, you know, because every single year EA tend to add in like, you know, 2, 3, maybe 4 stadiums, you know, real stadiums, and maybe a generic one as well. I'm always interested to see what new stadiums they're going to add in for the new year. And the PSV stadion, PSV's home ground, was added in for this year's FIFA, and it's another really nice stadium in Eindhoven, I must admit. But I have to say, you know, a couple of stadiums that I can't believe haven't been added into the game yet. Celtic Park and Ibrox. How is it FIFA 23 and these 2 grounds are still not in FIFA? Do you know what I mean? And I know, you know, there's many grounds out there that still aren't in the game that should be in the game. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's the Maracana. Obviously, for licensing, you could say the Nou Camp as well. For licensing, I think you could probably, you know, make an excuse as to why grounds like the Nou Camp, for example, aren't in the game. But there are certain grounds that aren't in FIFA. You just think to yourself, how? Are you serious? With the size of those clubs and the sizes of those fan base and the grounds that are quite iconic in world football as well, the fact that Celtic Park and Ibrox are not in FIFA is really bizarre. So don't get me wrong, I'm really pleased to see that PSV Stadion has been added into this year's game. Definitely deserve it, no doubt about it. There's a couple of other Dutch clubs that I feel should have their stadiums added into the game as well, due to the club's fan base size. But that's, do you know what, like, if someone was to say to me, like, what stadium would you want added into the game for next year? You could choose any one or 2, you know, what would you add in? Well, obviously for selfish reasons, I'd say the Den. But clearly, I'd have to go north of the country. I'd have to go to Scotland and say to my Celtic fans and my Rangers fans, guys, I'm sorry that your stadiums aren't in the game, because they are 2 fantastic stadiums. I've been outside Celtic Park, I've not been in, and I've been to Ibrox a few times as well. My uncle supports Rangers, so I've been to Ibrox a few times as well. I can't believe that those stadiums are not in the game. It's really surprising. But even so, after a big win away in Eindhoven against PSV, our fantastic start to the season continues, and for the following game, back at St James's and back in the Premier League here, taking on Everton. Sean Dyche's side coming to the northeast. My goodness, lovely team goal scored here right before the break. Alexander Isak's red-hot start to the season continues, completing a really nice team build-up there as we lead by 2 right before the break. Everton would get themselves back in the game as 70 minutes in. A little bit of an unlucky goal there, I'll be honest. It tackled Dwight McNeil and then the rebound fell directly back to Everton, and Evan Nilsson converts from close range. Thankfully, it would prove to be nothing other than a consolation goal, and our fantastic start to the season continues, still unbeaten in all competitions, and we've now won 11 in a row in all competitions. Yeah, fantastic start to the season as we aim to keep it going. So following game, Liverpool, Carabao Cup, heading into this game here at St James's, last 16 tie. Well, I did feel the backup side for the game, but I was hoping to keep the unbeaten start to the season continuing. And you know he's going to love scoring against Liverpool. Former Toffee, Anthony Gordon, scores a sensational goal to give us the lead. Possibly Alisson could have done better there, as the shot wasn't here with much power, but it did clip the underside of the bar, Tony Yeboah style, and find the back of the net. Yeah, the former Toffee getting us in front and making it 1-0. But unfortunately, my first loss of the season would come courtesy of a comeback. Yep, the Reds found their leveller in the second half, and then late on in the game, Tyrus Dolan finds the winner. and Liverpool steal it at the death. So first loss of the season, but to be fair, if I was going to have my first loss of the season, you know, you don't want to lose any game, obviously, but if you were choosing your losses, you'd probably say an early knockout in the Carabao Cup is where you'd want the undefeated run to come to an end to. So I guess the silver lining is knowing we're still undefeated in the league and the Champions League as well. So for the following game, absolutely massive. Newcastle United away at the Emirates. A meeting of the top two with identical records. We've both won 8 of our first 9 and we're both undefeated. Something surely had to give here in North London. Taking on Arteta's side, both sides making the brightest starts of the season so far. Early on into the game, free kick Magpies. Oh, and Kieran Trippier hits the crossbar and the Gunners would escape. I'm getting better from free kicks, and I'm getting better from free kicks. I'm still not great, but I'm getting better. I was useless at the start of this year's FIFA. I'm getting a lot more threatening. And I've already scored 1 free kick goal in this save. That was almost my second. But still 0-0. But I've made a bright start to the game in North London. Despite being the visitors in this game and coming on the back of our first loss of the season, I felt as though if we were really in attack mode here, we could return to winning ways and keep our unbeaten start to the season in the league alive. And right before the break, what a signing this guy's been for me this year. You know, I spent the big bucks to bring him in from Bayer Leverkusen, and there's no doubt about it, we've already got the ROI. 5 goals in 10 in the league. He's already got more than Miggy got in the league all season long, and the French winger, oh my goodness, the pace this guy's got, the dribbling, the agility, and the end product as well. This is what I was hoping for when I signed him for that club record fee from Bayer Leverkusen. He scores our opener right before the break, but the second goal is where it's at. 13 minutes to go. He leaves a French compatriot Benjamin Pavard in the dust with that amazing burst of pace. Step overs around the covering defender and bends it past Aaron Ramsdale. I tell you what, to start the season off, we've scored some really nice goals. Really nice goals. And most crucially, as we are the top scorers, we're getting the wins as well. 9 wins in a row in the Premier League, and a draw on the opening day means we're top of the table, now the only undefeated side left in the league, as we take a gap on Arsenal by 3 points. The Red Devils are, of course, still right behind as well. It has been a phenomenal start this season for the Magpies. So following game, going back home, Newcastle United versus PSV, match day 4 Champions League group stage. Win this game and we qualify for the knockout stages with 2 games to go. I was thinking after we tore PSV apart in Eindhoven, this should be a bit of a banker. Marko Arnautovic said the bank is closed. Yeah, you know those games where like one player is just on absolute flames and you can't stop him? Marko Arnautovic in this game was literally, and I mean literally, unstoppable. Every single time PSV got the ball, they looked for him. Oftentimes they found him, and every time they did, he seemed to find the back of the net. You know, they just played through their number 10, and I literally could not stop him. Arnautovic had a hat-trick away at St James's, and I could not cope with the former Hammer. Newcastle 0, PSV 3. So in a game I was thinking, you know, just come on the back of a massive high, 2-0 win away at the Emirates against Arsenal, and, you know, the early big battle between the top 2 in the league. Coming back home, PSV should be a banker. No. This was ridiculous, man. I could not stop Marko Arnautovic. We were 3-0 down. It seemed as though the game was over. I wasn't going to give up though, and I did score 2 goals in succession through Callum Clutch Wilson, our number 9, single-handedly leading the fight back here as we aim to come back from 3-0 down and possibly claim a point. In the end, sadly, we ran out of legs. Yep, final score 3-2, and Arnautovic bags the match ball as PSV get an unlikely 3 points, and it's our first loss in Europe this season. Thankfully, though, we still have 2 more chances to qualify. Win the following game away at the Bayer Arena, and we don't just guarantee qualification, but we also guarantee top spot as well. In fact, I think even just 2 draws in our last 2 games will be enough as well. So we still got destiny on our own hands. It's a big slip up, don't get me wrong, but it's not too damaging. We can come back from this, and we can still qualify as group winners with a win in match day 5. And speaking of Arnautovic, one of his former teams will be our following game. Staying at St James's, Stoke City, newly promoted to the Premier League, rock bottom of the table. Goodness gracious me, how often do I say it? Sometimes the easiest games are the hardest to win. Yep, you heard that right. I know it sounds a bit of a conundrum, but it's true. Sometimes the easiest games are the hardest to win. We fell behind early to the newly promoted, so far bottom of the table Stoke City team. So I was like, okay, I'm not having this. I'm not having back-to-back losses and my first loss in the league coming here against Stoke with no disrespect. We found our leveller through bizarre circumstances. I've been on the end of some bad luck in this save, but this is some real good luck here. The pass deflected. And actually, I love this goal, to be fair. Joel Linton slides in and scores with a charge down block. Yeah, that was really cool there from Joel Linton. You don't see goals like that very often, but Joel Linton there, the Brazilian, gets another goal to what has been a really good start to the season for him, and we are back on level terms. We were tied at 1-1 at the break, and in the second half I was like, okay, we're level 1-1. I'm glad we came back, but we're not failing to win this game. Come on, man, seriously. If we were to lose the Premier League title by a point, for example, I'd be fuming to know we could have won this game and claimed the extra 2 to win it ourselves. We've got to win this game. You can't slip up in these games if you want to be champions, no doubt about it. So in the second half, I really turned it on. So Maximine got our second to put us in front. Joel Linton got his second and our third to give us a 2-goal cushion. And once I got that 2-goal cushion, I kind of ran rampant here. I was thinking, why was I struggling so much in the first half? Because after that, I carved the Potters open quite easily. Yep, we got our 4th goal later on through Moussa Diaby. Excellent start to the season for our big money signing from Bayer Leverkusen. We lead by 3 now, and with 5 minutes to go, a chance to make it 5. Diaby down the right, which went into the middle, and Alexander Isak heads home to make it 5. So 4.5 minutes to go. And this is one of those games where the scoreline, you look at it and think, it seems like a routine victory for you. Well, yeah, it was in the end. But based on the start of the game, it was looking as though it would be an absolutely devastating loss for my first in the league this season. Thankfully, turned it on in the second half there with 4 goals in the final 24 minutes. So, yep, 5-1 the final score. And for the following game, away from home, Bramwell Lane, Sheffield United, another newly promoted side to the Premier League. Staying in the Premier League after last year. I keep forgetting this is technically season 3, if you will. But yeah, Sheffield United in the Premier League, surviving last year, taking them on at Bramwell Lane. 74 minutes to the game. Moussa Diaby, as we're still deadlocked at 0-0, turns the last defender and finds the back of the net. Sometimes you need to spend big to get the return on investment, and Moussa Diaby has been proof in the pudding right there. Yup, the Frenchman in from Bayer Leverkusen gets his 8th goal in 12 games, averaging 2 in every 3 in the Premier League as he bags the game winner in a hotly contested battle in Yorkshire. This guy has been phenomenal for me this year, and I'm so glad I decided to spend the big bucks and bring him in. He's made the difference on so many occasions, and he's done it once again. And for our final game today, it was match day 5, Champions League group stage again. Despite the loss to PSV, I knew heading into this game here, if we would win this one, we will guarantee not just qualification, but also top spot due to the head-to-head record being better than Leverkusen's, and in the end we won it by 1-0. Alexander Isak scored our first 4 minutes in, and after that I kind of played the game at a walking pace really. Didn't look for many more goals or chances, just passed the ball around, and there we go. Top spot confirmed with a game to go, which means at home to Shakhtar on match day 6, we can field a totally rotated side knowing the job is done. We're into the last 16. But that will end today's episode of the Newcastle United Career Mode, guys. So big thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed today's episode, then please do drop a like. And much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you for the next episode of the Newcastle United Career Mode very soon.